Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck here, 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen. Reporting from New Orleans, ladies and gentlemen, UFC 318. I'm sure you've all heard it by now, ladies and gentlemen. Brunno versus Jackson McVey. Brunno had to go to the hospital, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. I'll tell you, Jackson McVey, they call him the Moose. Jackson McVey is a beast, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Jackson McVey's debut today will go down in history as the greatest debut of all time, ladies and gentlemen. And if we're kidding, listen, if we're kidding, please strike us down, ladies and gentlemen. It was a brutal visual sight to watch Brunno literally get torn apart, ladies and gentlemen. Jackson McVey, the beast. Listen to me, people. Jackson McVey tore Brunno apart, ladies and gentlemen. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Everybody agrees it was the most disgusting thing they've ever seen in their life, ladies and gentlemen. Brunno had to be... Listen to me, people. It's tough. Listen. Brunno had to be carted off to the hospital in 3 ambulances. That's right. Jackson McVey tore Brunno into literal pieces, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Our producers are telling us that we cannot show the replay. Major networks are not going to show any replay at all. We've already been told. And if we were to show any kind of replay at all, we're told that we will face, oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's just so brutal. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go around the room before we show the video, ladies and gentlemen. Also today, sponsored by, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Operation, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Simon Feck sponsored today, none other than Operation, ladies and gentlemen. It's so fitting. Let's go around the room first before we show the replay of this, ladies and gentlemen. Right over here, you see him right over here. Right there next to the Lucky 7 machine. We call it the money machine, ladies and gentlemen. The bald man over there, ladies and gentlemen, Dana White, that's right. The big guy right there, the big blue guy, ladies and gentlemen, that's BKFC's Big Ben Rothwell, ladies and gentlemen. Riding Big Ben Rothwell right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Sewer King, a.k.a. ex-MMA fighting on SBN, editor, cameraman, journalist, ladies and gentlemen, Jose Youngs, ladies and gentlemen. The beautiful woman right there in purple, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Nina Drama, ladies and gentlemen. Back here in the back. And people forget, man, people forget Laura Sanko's hot, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Riding the beanie of the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. Laura Sanko right there. That's right. Over here, ladies and gentlemen, you have Lenee Breckenridge right here. The right-hand woman of Dana White. That's right. Right here is a shelfie from Moe's Clam, ladies and gentlemen. Sent to the Simon Feck Studios, ladies and gentlemen. Mo from MMA fighting himself, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck just messed up, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, scratch that out, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. We have a shelfie from Moe's Clam, ladies and gentlemen. Moe's from MMA-holes, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, sent to the Simon Feck Studios, ladies and gentlemen. We're a proud owner of that shelfie right there, that Clam, ladies and gentlemen. Right here at the commentary table, right here. To my right, your left, ladies and gentlemen. DC, ladies and gentlemen. In the middle right there, you have Joe Rogan. And we discarded John Anik, ladies and gentlemen. We couldn't have three bald guys in a row. We had to get a guy, ladies and gentlemen, with a warrior haircut. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We hired the best in the business, ladies and gentlemen. Moe's. Some people call him Moss. We call him Moss. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, Moss from MMA-holes, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. Getting the stand-up interviews right here, ladies and gentlemen. None other than Mickey Gall, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest referee of all time right here, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Glenn. In the ring right here, the big beast himself. You see it right there, ladies and gentlemen, making his debut, towering over Brunno, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the size difference between those two right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, making his UFC debut at UFC 318 in New Orleans today, ladies and gentlemen. None other than Jackson McVey, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. I'm telling you, it's brutal. It's brutal to watch. Anyways, right here. Jackson McVey's opponent, ladies and gentlemen. Brunno, ladies and gentlemen, right here. In Brunno's corner right here, you see him right here, ladies and gentlemen. Derek Moneyberg, ladies and gentlemen. And in Jackson McVey's corner over here, Bryan Battle, ladies and gentlemen. Some people are thinking that it's Sean Strickland in a wig, but we're not really sure, ladies and gentlemen, because Sean Strickland right now is under suspension. So if you happen to think he looks like Sean Strickland, ladies and gentlemen, it's Bryan Battle, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, that's right. Yeah, in my ear right now, I'm getting from the producers that we're not allowed to show the replay. Dude, after all this, we're not allowed to show the replay, ladies and gentlemen? Huh? Mike. Hey, we're not allowed to show the replay? We're not allowed to show the replay when Brunno walks up to the center of the octagon, ladies and gentlemen. And then right here, Jackson McVey with his 6'7" or whatever it is, ladies and gentlemen, frame, takes one step, comes up, and BAM! Hits Brunno. Brunno backs up into the arms of Derek Moneyberg, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the crowd couldn't see what was going on, ladies and gentlemen, but Brunno's face was smashed in, ladies and gentlemen. It looked like a pumpkin 5 days after Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. All smashed in. You can see his brain, ladies and gentlemen. Down goes Mo, ladies and gentlemen. Down goes Mickey Gall, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's down crying, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get to the end of what happened to Brunno, ladies and gentlemen, right here, ladies and gentlemen, Kody, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Kody Big Mommaerts, listen. Kody Big Mommaerts, ladies and gentlemen, has replaced Bruce Buffer. Did you see Bruce Buffer, UFC 317? He didn't get any vertical at all when he was announcing the main event, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White said if Bruce Buffer does not get a vertical, I mean, he used to do like a 4-inch vertical. He's been down to like 3/4 inch of a vertical. UFC 317, Bruce Buffer, 0 vertical, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you got Kody Big Mo here. He's a vertical just standing by him, I mean, without even jumping, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably the biggest and stupidest video we've ever done, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, right here, you can see, right here. Let's bring this around so we can see it a little bit better, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, you can see Brunno, right here, ladies and gentlemen, in the arms of Derek Moneyberg, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, down goes Jackson McVey, ladies and gentlemen. Just from the sight alone, Jackson McVey passes out, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing Brunno's face all crushed in like a Halloween pumpkin 5 days after Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. You know that look, right, ladies and gentlemen? So, Brunno goes back into the arms of